Welcome to Speaking of Entrepreneurship, a podcast powered by the Center for Entrepreneurs at Cuyahoga Community College's Corporate College. Here, we dive into real conversations with industry experts, innovative founders, and business leaders who share their insights, challenges, and strategies for success. Whether you're launching a startup, scaling your business, or just exploring the entrepreneurial mindset, this is your space to learn, adapt, and thrive.
Ever wondered if it's time to start your journey in entrepreneurship? Are you stressed about the cost of failure? Are you looking for a community to help support, educate, and empower you on your journey? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to Venture Up, an elevated exchange. I'm Heather Holmes Dillard, and this is a place where you will find answers to the questions that keep you curious. You've heard of retail therapy, so today we're going to do some entrepreneurship therapy. Here with me today at Tri-C Centers for Entrepreneurs is Dr. Ellen Burts-Cooper, who is an author, professor, and senior managing partner of Improve Consulting and Training Group, a firm that provides personal and professional development training, coaching, and consultation. Improve has been featured in Time Magazine, in Black Voices, Smart Business Week, and Bloomberg News. But as a participant of one of her organizational training sessions, I am also truly a fan. So welcome, Ellen.
Thank you, Heather. I appreciate being here.
I'm so excited. So I know at Improve, your team offers many services to increase the effectiveness and productivity of your clients and organizations. And everyone's journey in entrepreneurship is a little different, right? So getting right into your area of expertise, what advice would you give entrepreneurs when starting their new journey?
Yeah, when starting your new journey, there's a few things that you want to think about. And so I prepared some notes because I'm a note person.
Let's do it.
But I wanted to make sure I hit all the highlights. And I like to put it in the form of, empower. If you're starting a business, you have to do some things for yourself. So we have to think about, how am I educated on what business I'm starting? Mm-hmm. Understanding your industry, understanding the things that impact your business, current events that might impact your business. So make sure you're educated. But also I look at structure. What type of business will you start, right? Will it be a C Corp, LLC? How will you structure the business? But every business has to also have processes. Like whatever service you deliver, product, do you have the appropriate processes in place so you can do that very efficiently, effectively, because time is going to cost you a lot of money. So making sure you have processes, systems, but things as simple as making sure you have a tax advisor, right? An accountant.
A banker.
A banker, having an attorney right away. You say, I don't need those right away, but they can help you set up the appropriate structure to run the business. Because it's not just about the product or service, it's how well your back office operates. And then you have to think about the people you serve. So once you're educated, your back office is running, who are you serving? So think about putting together a client engagement plan. Who are the people that benefit or draw value from what I'm delivering? You put those things together, educate yourself, process systems, understand your client, and having your structure in place, you're ready to get started.
And you think that applies to all sorts of business types, whether it be a service, based industry or food or beauty, all the things.
That's why I like to cover those, because they are fairly universal. Just about whatever business you're in, you have to have internal structure and you have the people who buy what you're serving.
So let's talk about internal structure for a minute. Right. I'm not sure, and we're going to talk about it. I can't wait to hear your journey into starting Improve. But, as many folks are looking to start their own business, it's usually like themselves or maybe a family member, right? Right. And so at what point, would you advise, or you find that it's important to start and be mindful of making investments of growing your team and how to grow the team?
When you think about your clients, at some point, some people are solo, right? They can run the shop by themselves as long as they have that support team. Your accountants who are probably not on your team, but they're supplemental to your team. When you put together a plan of who you want to serve and how you want to serve them, without sacrificing quality, can you still do that by yourself? Mm-hmm. So yes, you could deliver meals to 20 people without sacrifice of time. but could you do it for 30? So you've got to understand the limitations of your service if you're going to do it by yourself, at which time you invest before you need it. If you wait too late because you're getting complaints or delivery times are off or you don't have the right product, you're going to lose customers.
Well, let's talk about your journey.
Yeah,
so
sure.
how did Improve start? And, how did we grow?
Yeah, I always write down and I tell people I started for 3 reasons: convenience, control, and cash.
Okay.
Like, literally, I'm not kidding. I was in corporate America and I wanted more control over what I did. Even though I was managing a manager, I wanted to control how I showed up at work. I wanted to control who I was around, the type of work I did, how I did the work. And so I realized I probably wasn't going to be able to do that as much working for someone else. But the other thing is, I don't want my earning potential to be limited by the corporate performance structure, right? So it was cash. So I want to see, can I make more money if I'm willing to work a lot harder? Corporate, I work harder, I get a raise according to their percent. But if I'm offering my own services, I can change that number pretty drastically. And then it was convenience. I want to work the hours I want to work when I want to work. So it sounds a little bit selfish, but it was self-full because I also brought on people who wanted to do that. So I literally left corporate America and decided I wanted to start a business doing the thing I love, which is training, teaching, coaching. But I didn't leave right away, right? I took a 1 year, and I call it
Bridge
365 plan. I literally call it 365. Every single day of that year, I did something for my business while I was still working.
Yeah.
So not on work time, but evenings, weekends, I would do something. Sometimes I would work an hour a day. Sometimes I would take an entire Saturday and work. Other times I would just work for 10 minutes. I was so tired. But I can honestly say I did something every single day for 1 year. By the time I left corporate America, I already had a client base, business ready to go, and could replace a year's salary in 3 months.
Woo.
But I wasn't the type that could just walk out and leave my company and say, well, I'm just going to see if I can make it. I put a plan together to be able to do that, a year plan.
A plan first.
Yeah.
And so how big is your team now?
Yeah. So we have 8 people now on the team. Over the years, we've not let anybody go or anything, but just downsized over the years because I'm probably at the point where I've had a couple more years where I'm going to run and then I'm going to change and shift gears. I've already started shifting gears to do something else.
Oh, okay. Because you're kind of young.
Yeah. We had about 30 contractors, and then over time, clients hired them away because they got good at what they did. And I love that. And then at this point, I am switching gears and I've moved my business to another state. We still have it in Ohio, but in Florida, we're focusing on wellness now. So I'm building a whole new team there. Yeah. Okay. So I'm switching to how do I help people it was learn and grow and develop skills for their jobs. Now is how do I help you be well?
As a person.
Yeah, as a person. Yeah. And so I'm shifting gears to that, but the business is still running here in Cleveland. So
speaking of wellness as a person and your journey of, still working your 9 to 5, planning and growing your business, what advice would you give to, others in a similar situation, right? Who are being a little bit more mindful, right, about this transition and finding time for self?
Yeah, it's comprehensive. So when I think about wellness, the first thing you do as an entrepreneur is you put everything in. Like you're exhausted, you're working longer hours because you're trying to get something off the ground. And it's probably something you're passionate about and love for many of us. You still have to look at life from a comprehensive view. I did not do that at first. I put everything in one bucket, and that was the job bucket. That was the business bucket. Every bit of my energy went there. But then there was a sacrifice to my health, to my friends, family. So now I take a holistic approach and talk to entrepreneurs about, one, put your focus in your business. Maybe that's the highest percentage, but there should be a percentage in social. Keep your friends who are going to cheerlead for you, are going to hold you accountable. Financial. You still have to think about long-term wealth planning. Philanthropy. You still need to do for others and community. There should be a physical bucket, right?
Yeah.
We still have to get whatever your body needs, sleep, exercise, the right eating. And so I look at all those buckets. And then intellectual, I would say that cognitive bucket. You still need to learn and grow. So I was putting everything I had into one bucket, and all of the rest of that suffered until I started to balance it out. it's not exactly split. Right now, most of my effort is in social bucket. I'm catching up with every friend I've ever known. But my business is running fine without me doing anything.
Because you've like built this team, you've got trust.
Right, you've got the trust. And last year, I put a lot of my energy into the financial wealth planning, which let me know, okay,
you guys work, okay.
I can leave a little bit earlier than I thought without sacrifice to my future. Right?
Love that.
I won't be in the best nursing home, but it'll be a pretty decent one. And I have enough to be a good one. But it's just about comprehensive. Your life should not suffer and put every egg in your business basket, because the day you stop doing that, you lose sight of who you are. There's no other elements around you to support you.
Let's talk about in your journey, a story or a time where you may, have been faced with something difficult.
Yeah.
And if you had to, do it again, how would you approach?
Yeah, it's been a lot of difficult places there, but I think for the most part it is being able to say no to work. When you first start out, you take everything because you remember cash. I was like, I need money. And so if you asked to do it, I was like, oh, I'll figure it out. And I would figure it out and it would work. But what I didn't realize was I don't get knowing the way you work was my biggest mistake. I knew what I loved, but I was taking on everything just because it brought in money. It's not the right approach, right? At the beginning, I would argue, okay, it gave me a good foundation, but at some point, being able to walk away from things or say no was just as important as what you say yes to. So one of my biggest lessons was prioritization, right? I was managing my time. I didn't need time management. It was priority management. I was giving energy to things that did not deserve my energy and effort. And I was starting to be resentful of the business. Because now I'm taking on accounts where I don't want to get up. And I was like, wait, this is the same feeling I had when I was in corporate. Hold on. And that was a steadier paycheck. So I started to realize I've got to figure out I got rid of the word busy years ago. I don't say it anymore.
Okay.
Right? People say, no, I'm busy. I'm not busy. I have to get to a healthy level of productivity by watching what I prioritize. So if I didn't go to lunch with you, it just wasn't a priority that day. My sleep was that day. My health was. So one of my
again, I need to incorporate these responses in my life. So I'm sorry, I'm not busy. I need to reprioritize.
Yeah, my focus. Somebody will say, Ellen, can you come do this? If I say yes to that, Heather, if I say yes to going to that event with you, I'm saying no to my family and they need me right now. Or I'm saying no to my exercise. So learning how to prioritize what's really critical. And some days it wasn't the business.
And that's okay.
And that's okay, right? As long as you have a foundation. That was one of the biggest lessons I learned in prioritizing what's really critical, knowing that the business was not 100% all the time. It can't be.
Any other, advice for entrepreneurs, no matter the phase that they're at in their journey, whether they're starting, the ships are rowing, everything's in sync, or it's time to start transitioning, right? Any advice when it comes to managing the stress of it all, like the stress of being responsible for someone else's payroll, the stress of, can I get this done on time? I'm going to meet this deliverable, all the things. Can I be there for family, right? Can I, all of the above.
Yeah, it goes back to that holistic circle that I kind of talked about of things, your finance, your philanthropy, making sure all those are a part. But also remember the reason you started the business. There's a subset of people who started just to make money, and there is nothing wrong with that. And they will do what they have to do in the business. Many of us as entrepreneurs started because we have something we love or we have a talent. What I find, now this is going to be a little bit controversial. Can I say it?
Yeah. Oh, please.
I often hear this, and I know people will probably debate it. They say work on your business, not in it.
I have yes.
You hear that. Yeah. And I agree with it to an extent. Here's where I'm saying. I didn't start my business to run a business. I started my business to teach, train, educate, coach, the things that I have an energy and talent to serve. So when I was working on the business, I was like, I'm doing payroll. I'm making decisions about finance. This is not why I started. And then you become, again, very resentful. So what I found is I can work in my business. People say, no, you work on it. No, I just have to have it worked on. So I hire people.
There you go.
I make the bigger decisions. I sign things. Nobody else can sign but me. There's no other signing authority. And I have strategy sessions. So I think of the big ideas, I do the strategy, but I have somebody else that I trust over years to work on the business so I can be in it doing what I love. I didn't start it to run it. I started to do my talent. And I find like people who start restaurants, they love to cook, but rarely do they get in the kitchen. And then all of a sudden they're exhausted. So part of your stress is because you're doing the things that don't give you energy.
Or don't bring you joy.
Right. So you do have to have your business work done. Do I have to be the one doing it? As long as I set the strategy, direction, and sign the appropriate documents, I have to surround myself with people I trust that can do the things. I am not doing payroll, and nor do you want me doing your payroll. You will have issues with that kind of thing.
And so did you find, was that a part of your initial plan, or you came to that through experience?
I came to it. I wish I could write a book on here's the 100 things never to do in a business, but I just always knew you got to be the run the business. You're the boss, and it was no. I actually make more money for the business in it than working on it.
Doing the stuff you love. And so where did you find this network, this community of folks that you've learned to trust to operate your business so you can do the things that, bring you joy and have time to prioritize all the other things that make you whole?
It took a lot of time.
Okay.
Took a lot of time to find the people that could run it in a way that captured my vision, that ran it with my level of integrity, that ran it to service my clients in the way I wanted to. So it was over time, and that's been a struggle. So I've had people give me word of mouth. That's worked great because you wouldn't give me anybody you didn't trust.
Right.
So I go to people and I get it, and then I build teams over time. So that 8 core people, that doesn't account the 12 people that I have surrounding me as consultants. They're on my team on a regular basis for 9 years. And so they have helped me over that time. I do get the concept of one other struggle I have is being in the business so much. You're such a part of it. When you have a service, it's hard to sell it later because you are the business. I don't sell a product. And so that is a struggle that I have to think about is how do I scale it, sell it, or move away from it later and still have wealth, build wealth. So that is a struggle I see when you step too much into your business.
I am curious, in your business, do you have a lot of clients who are entrepreneurs? Would you suggest, entrepreneurs maybe look to, invest in some professional coaching such as yourself? Or organizational,
Yeah, but I would say everybody needs education. Continuous improvement in education should be anybody's goal. My clients are mostly larger corporations. And I have a lot of nonprofit, larger nonprofits, smaller. I have a few people that I work with that are entrepreneurs, and a lot of times they are ones who have come to be through those companies, right? So I don't service that population as much. I used to. Now I'm mostly corporations, but I will tell you, I can't imagine as a business owner not having a coach. I have 2 of them, right? I can't imagine not going to classes, right? I just took 2 classes last month because you got to stay up on your craft. I want to know what's happening in my industry. Other people who are doing what I'm doing, what are they learning? What conferences are they attending? Who do they know? Keeping up with your network. So I would say continuous improvement is a must, no matter what business you're in.
So to kind of wrap it up, I mean, to start, best advice is to, get your plan together. Get your plan, find a team of advisors and other professionals who can help you make sure your plan is as good as it can be. Don't be afraid to fail. Go through the experience. Learn to prioritize time for yourself and your family, and do what you love.
Yeah, there you go. I love it. And just having planning time has been critical, right? We go so much. We go 8, 9, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Having regular routine planning time is absolutely critical because you've got to actually think about your business. Where do you want it to go? How do you want it to grow? Do you want it to grow, right? How do you want to pass it on? Or what do you want to do with it later? It's an exit strategy. So having regular routine planning time is absolutely critical, and making sure you have, again, a robust financial plan, right? Because sometimes many of us go from corporate and we're making money as an employee. That's very different than how you're taxed as a business. So just education and understanding and planning time is absolutely critical.
Well, thank you, Ellen, so much.
Pleasure.
This has been great. And I want to thank you all for joining us here today on this episode of Venture Up. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please be sure to follow us on all of the channels here below.
Thank you for tuning in to today's podcast, brought to you by the Center for Entrepreneurs at Corporate College. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, rate, and share with fellow entrepreneurs. Tune back in to stay connected with us for more insights and resources to help you build, innovate, and thrive.